Lisa, can you hear me? Okay, I think you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Alisa, you already copied just now how we create a data type from season for the season, spring, summer, autumn, winter, right?
Yeah.
So now we can have a look at how we actually define that data type. So, okay, this is how we define the season. So this is a variable of type season. So season, we already know. Season, again, I said we can have days of the week because this is a fixed enumerated types that we are able to use. We can use Sunday, Monday, and so on. This is the possible fixed choices that we can use. And so we created a variable called this season of type season. And then this is how we assign to that variable a value. So this value come from where? It comes from the data types that we choose inside. So the possible values that we choose inside here, spring, autumn, and winter, and so on. So did you catch what I'm trying to tell you here?
Yeah.
Really? I continue?
Yeah. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. So now looking at this, since we already understand, now we have two portions here. So he asks us to write building record changed. He said the data type for building record is changed. So it become building type. So we have to create a type, building type. And it have, can you still remember?
Sorry, I'm looking at.
Okay, can you please look at here?
Yeah, just type, building type, and then house, bungalow, apartment, farm.
Okay, so this answer the first portion of B. The second portion he's telling us write the new declaration of building group in pseudocode. So now Elisa, building group. Can you have a look here?
Yeah.
I need to erase this. Can I? So can you look here, Elisa? Building group is what here? What is the current data type? He asked us to create a new type for that, and he called. Just now we declared that as a building type. So we will remove string, and we will rewrite that line, declare building group as building type. So we remove the word string and we put building type. What is building type? This is building type that we just declared a few while ago. We write type, building type equal, and we open brackets, we put house, bungalow, apartment, farm. Alisa, are you following?
Wait. So does that just mean like it's like declare building group and then like just the 2 dot and then building type?
Yes, exactly. Same like we just now when we created here. Can you see here? So you created a type called season, and then you created a variable from that data type season. this season is actually a variable of type using a data type is called season, right? So, but ours is different. We have a building group like that. So building group was actually previously we put house inside it, and house was a string. Can you remember?
Yeah.
So this is exactly not same, but this is how we assigned it a house when it was a string. But now we don't want it to be a string anymore. We want building group to be of type building type. So actually, when he created season, he didn't write season type, but it is possible that he can go here and write season type here. So instead of writing the word season, he defines a type of that is called season type. And then if he modified this way, so we actually need to come here and write this is a variable name of type season type. Did I make sense? Did I manage to explain that answer to you, or I need to repeat again? No, I mean,
no, it's good.
So Alisa, my job
Yeah.
is not to just say one time and then if you don't catch it, you are shy to tell me. No, my job, I'm here for you. I dedicate my time to you. So you want me to repeat from here the same word until you understand it until tomorrow. It's fine to me. It's my job. So you don't.
Yeah.
You need to remove your shyness. You are busy doing something else. You stop me. You ask me to repeat again. I have no worries about that. Okay. I will not benefit from anything if you come out without a proper understanding.
Yeah,
fine?
but it's fine. Like I got this part. Yep.
Okay, good. Okay. So, okay, we go to. So, Alisa, the last portion here that we would like to talk about is this part. Can you please read it and tell me what do you think can be the possible answer?
So building register dot building group, and then arrow house.
Okay. So I need to put a double quotation or no need to put double quotation?
No need.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, good. So now we enter the challenging part. So it is challenging only just because this is the first time for you to know about it. So he asked us to, he said the program is to be rewritten using the object-oriented OOP, the data type building record, and just now we looked at, is to be changed to a class. It will be renamed building class. So the properties for building class are building ID, building group, owner name, building address, data last sold, price last sold. So we have no idea about actually object-oriented or even classes. So what should we do now? Okay, we should look at, okay, before we talk about object-oriented and classes, let me confirm this portion first, because we will use that when we are talking about classes. So did you please know about what is the procedure?
A procedure. Yes.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Okay. A function. It's kind of like a function, but it doesn't return something.
Perfect.
Like
Perfect answer. Okay.
that's yeah.
Okay. So you know how it looks like, definitely. So you can tell me from here, is it this square, default square, or even square? So this is a procedure that's called square, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it return any value?
Wait, let me see. No,
It doesn't, right?
because it's a procedure. Yeah.
Okay, good. And why the procedure here does not have any brackets, Alisa?
Because it's kind of like a name. You know how like when you declare a variable, you don't bracket it. When you
No,
declare, when you like procedure something, it's like you don't need
no,
to bracket.
no. That's
It's kind
okay.
of like
No problem.
no.
I enjoy when you give me an answer that is not accurate. Why? Because when you say it, you will
Okay.
still remember it somehow. Okay. So we didn't put a bracket here, even though in the programming we will not need to put a bracket, even if we uh, use a procedure that does not return anything, just because here
Uh-huh.
this is a procedure that does not take any input. It does not take any parameter. Okay, so if it have no
Uh,
parameters, so that's why it doesn't have any bracket. But look at here, this is a square and this is a default square. Default square will come up with a fixed size, so that's why it doesn't take any parameters. But a square that need to take a size, so it will open a bracket and it will take a size here. It is just a normal variable of type integer, and it is an input to the
mm-hmm.
square. When we call the square, we pass it 100. So it means that size will be passed 100. So when we look here at size here will be, where is size? Yeah. So he will use size. So did you take procedure before with parameters like that, with an input value like that?
Yeah.
So I no need to explain that, right? You already know what is a parameter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so size is a parameter. You already know that? You have any problem here?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
No.
Okay, so you know what is a function is.
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's like, still like a step of things, but you have to return something.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Can you look at this code and can you tell me if you understand anything from what is written here? This is a function.
Okay, let me see. Okay, got it.
Okay. Uh, so you know that it returns what and it take how many parameters?
2.
Okay, perfect. And did you see the last line, please?
Yeah.
What is the last line doing?
Uh, it it's like it's using the function where like when you have to output penalty fine, and then it will call the function and return the larger number between 10 and distance time 2.
Perfect, perfect. Mhm. Okay, I think now we are able to proceed to, okay, so an object-oriented is too deep. We will not touch it. It's impossible to touch it in 10 minutes or 20 minutes. But I want you to imagine,
Uh-huh.
Alisa, that they created functions and procedures, right? So what is the purpose of creating a function and procedure? Why don't we write lines of code like what we wish? Why we need to bother ourselves with grouping certain parts of the code that do something, just a common purpose? Okay, you find a maximum value between two, or even to make a sum. Why we need to bother ourselves to create functions and procedure? Actually, what? Why do you think?
Because that way we can use it multiple times in the code rather than having to type it out every single time.
Excellent answer. Okay, so in reality, an object is like a reality. Car is an object. A house is an object. Um, Human also is an object. So an object can have properties and it can do some actions. So a car, it have a color, it have a price, it have I would say a date of manufacturing, for example. So all this can be a properties of a car. Car is an object, like we said, and the car can move, it can stop, it can turn right, it can turn left. So this is an actions that the car can do, right? So now we are describing an object. In programming, when you said functions can do, I mean, when we group certain lines of code in a function or procedure, we can really make reuse it later. So when we group properties and actions that an object can do, we also can reuse that later. So actually, object-oriented is encouraging the reuse of things, because if you write a code that use a car now, who knows, maybe in a next project you have also, you need also to use a car. So but in this way we are more, how to say, um, not not limited only to functions, but we also can group variables that describe the object we are talking about. So we create procedure that maybe get maximum and minimum of numbers, but we didn't have any properties or variables included. So we would like to go on a bigger scale. We would like to name things on object manner, on an object size. So we talk about human. Can human have height or even length? Okay, yes, height and weight, and even skin color. And this can be type of properties for a human. And human can sleep, can sit, can talk. This is also actions the human can do. So if you would like to write an object um, in a pseudocode manner, we would like to divide things into two kind of groups. One is properties, and that will be translated into variables of different types. So variables can be strings, can be integers. So if we talk about the weight and height of the human, so definitely this will be an integer values. So we will create a variable that is called weight, a variable called height, and we will make that of type maybe very integer possible. And also it's possible to make it more real. So we use the type real for that. So if you look here,
Yeah.
can you have a look here? What is he doing? He created um, this portion is called properties, like that. And this called, this is the actions that we talked about. And in programming, they call that methods. So the methods is action, okay? That's one thing. And so this is a class of, is a player object. So we created everything from either properties or actions that a player can do in a type that we call a class. Okay, so here you see, of course, when you create a player, you don't need to create everything, a lot of properties. A player can have attempts, can have a name, but when we creating it, we create it only based on the requirement. So on the requirement, they ask, okay, create a player of a game, and he have attempts. So how many tries he can do? This is the attempt that we create is an integer, and then we assign a value to that variable of attempts. And then we have two procedures That's why I explained procedures before. So set attempts will actually it will take a number and it will assign that number to the variable here. So, and get attempts actually will somehow return an integer. It's a function that will return an integer. It will return attempts. But actually, why people can't access attempts directly? It is just a variable. Why don't we access it? Why we need to create two possible functions or procedures, one procedure, one function, to be able to assign value to it and get its value? Because we in object oriented, when they created it, they actually focus on reducing the amount of bugs or the software mistakes that a programmer can do. So software mistakes, I personally faced it before. When I write a code of 1000 or 2000 line, then I will see that, okay, I have a variable um, in the middle of 200 variables. And that variable, I expect its value to be always between 1 to 100. But for at certain moments after the user operates the application for maybe 12 hours, I find that value changed. It maybe have 200. But then I keep wondering why, what is happening? But then I have a long number of lines that I need to check. I cannot check 200 lines of code every time just to search who is changing the value of my variable that I expect always to be between 1 to 100. So that is a real problem. They create a solution for that problem. The solution is to make a variable, instead of using the word declare, we use here the word private. Alisa, can you still follow up with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so the word private, it's telling that nobody outside the class are allowed to change the variable attempts except these two functions. So you limit who are able to access your variable and who are able to change it. When you are able to do that, you actually protect your code from bugs. It make you write more code. This is true, because a variable, we learned that we can assign a value to a variable as easy as one line like that. But when you need to write a function or procedure this way, it means that you have extra steps to take. Yes, but the consequence or the result is good, is better, because you reduce the amount of bugs. This is the reason that they use classes and object-oriented, and the reason also they use the word private. Private means it's not accessible for users outside the class. I will show you how the class looks like now. So again, this is the word private. Public means everybody are able to call the procedure set attempts. The user of the class are able to call set attempts and pass it a number, and then it will be able to change the attempts variable here. Okay, am I clear?
Yes, but I do have one question.
Yeah, please.
For the private attempts, like I can tell that for function, it's completely private. We can't see the function. We can see the properties, but can we see the assigned attempts as 3? Because like when you are privating attempts integer, are we only putting that line, or are we also privating the attempts arrow tree? Like, is that public? Because like,
Can you this one you're talking about this?
yeah, is this also privated?
Yes, it is also privated. So this is already inside the class itself. So that's why, so you are able to change the value inside the class, but not outside it. So to be able to change it from outside the class, I understand, but give me a second. Let me show you. If you don't see, so again, I want you to look at this. Can you look at these two lines, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is how he want to set attempts. So he pass 5 to the procedure using this way. He use the class name player dot set attempts, and he pass it 5, and it will, this 5 will be set to the private attempts variable. This is how he just print attempts. He just call player dot get attempts, and it will return the value of attempts from inside. Typically, just now, when we, you remember that composite data type, this one that we created for the building, for the student, and for the library. So previously, if you have a building like that, and this is a variable name, you are able to use building ID, for example. You are able to access it using a dot. But here, because you set your attempts to private, you're not able to access it this way. So you're only able to access the function and procedures. Okay, but if you set it to public, so you are able to write player dot attempts, and you are able to set a value for it like this. But because if this is public, this is allowed. If this is private, then you are not able to use that kind of form. So you have to revert back to using the procedure and functions to set and get the function, the attempts variable. Did I make it clear?
Okay.
I know it's so, Alisa, this is not a topic that can be talked about in a short period. But what I want to say is that we will still talk about classes again in VP. So don't really worry too much about classes if you don't really grab that full concept. Okay, so I want you to look here, please.
Yeah.
So can you see, this is a class. This is how a class looks like. Can you have a look and tell me what can you understand from that?
Wait, Jared, can you go back to the private thing, because I want to copy down the code.
Sure. I think, yep, here.
Okay. Question. The OOP thing, is there supposed to be a definition for it, or is it just like a thing?
Object-oriented programming.
Yeah. Is this object-oriented programming, or like?
So what about if I because I mean, I also not the type that memorize things. So the theoretical definition, let me bring it to you as an official one from the book on the next class. But what I explained to you is actually the concept of, so what I explained now, that we try to look at the things around us and define the properties. So we look at the things around us and we say, okay, a laptop is an object, a house is an object, a car is an object. So we try to how to say, to make everything around us as an object and try to figure out its properties and actions that it can do, and then we translate that to classes. So if you look, just have a look here.
Okay.
So again, so what I need to bring you, if you ask me to that I memorize the definition in the book, I don't memorize the definition. So so what I owe you is that, because here I was only seeking the answer in the pseudocode part. So I didn't put out in the slides a definition that you can really memorize. So what I explained to you is something for you to really understand. But if you're talking about object-oriented theoretical definition, I need to grab it and put it for you in the slides. And I also can do that when I'm passing the slides to you. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I would like you to have a look at this. So this is a class. This is how they define a class. Previously, they used type for the composite data type, and they use end type like this. So now we use a class, end class. Okay, and this is the name of the class. Is pet. So can you go through the lines here and tell me what can you understand?
Wait. We are hiding the fact that the name variable is a string.
Okay. So can I use a class name like that? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes. Because the procedure is public.
Yeah, but the procedure is called new. Does it give a name?
Oh.
So we need to use the name of the procedure.
Yeah, so we can't put pet name, but we can put pet and then dot new.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, good. So but another thing also I would like you to note, when we created a composite data type, we defined the type like that, and then we defined, so this is the definition of the type. So this is the building type, for example, and then we created a building variable that is of building type. So it means that this building type I cannot use to access the content here. Am I making sense?
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
wait.
No, but like, cause like in this procedure, you're assigning the name, like you're assigning given name to the name. So like,
yes.
it's
So
kind of
it's confusing. Confusing, right? Okay. So okay, Alisa, actually, this is not a normal procedure. When we use the word new, this is called constructor. It is not a normal procedure. A constructor is only called once for every class. When do you call it? it is when you create your class. So when you create a class for the first time, you're only allowed to give a name here to the pet. Other than that, you cannot call it every time. But if you look at the previous player, let me see here. So the previous player, you have two procedures. One procedure, one function. Set attempts, you can call it as many times as you want. Okay, because it's a normal procedure, not a constructor. So how I differentiate between a constructor and a normal procedure or a function? I differentiate that I see the procedure is using a name called new. So when I see new, I know for sure that this is a constructor. Can you see it here? Can you recognize where is new here? And a constructor will be always public.
Okay.
Okay. So I would say I don't want to really.
Oh no. You can continue first.
Okay. So again, so if we want to, okay, classes is actually the blueprint. Blueprint means is something like you define. Okay, consider it if you have a class that we call it house. Consider the class that we call house is actually the blueprint. The blueprint is like the drawing of the house. Is that how many rooms that we need to have inside the house? This is it tells us, okay, if we build a house, we will build it in I mean on this kind of land, maybe 100 meters square, sorry, meter square like that, or we have 2 floors, for example. So it describes something. It describes generally how the house should look like, but actually in reality, there is many type of houses. There is a house in Tamam Bardana. There is a house in KTT Tiga. There is a house in KTC 4. So there is many houses, and every house. So we use the class house to create how to say different type of houses, and that use the same variables and properties and actions that is defined in the original class. Did I make sense? Or it doesn't still make sense? If it doesn't,
I still don't really get it. Does that mean that like the procedure in here you can only use that once, or like
only the constructor one, only that's this constructor, we use it only once. So you see this, we use the word new, cat, kitty, and we pass 2 variables. We pass 2 variables for the class that is called cat. So this cat is a class, and we use it to create what? A variable called my cat. My cat here become an object. An object of type cat. I know it's difficult. I think we have to continue on this on the next class.
That's fine. I think I somewhat grasp it. If I will, when you send me the slide, I will like try to read through it again, and if I still don't get it, I'll tell you. If I get it, then well, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, then see you next class. Okay, take care.
Yep. All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.